this is one of my favorite people to go for a walk and talk with. I remember when Craig and I met was just actually over there during the Sackville Fall Fair.
Yeah.
We were stacking hay bales.
Yes.
And
I was doing all your work.
And Craig said something to the extent of, I'd love to just sit down and talk with you.
Yeah.
Where one of the messages I remember Craig gave me early on is start a conversation with people.
Yeah.
Don't try and sell them.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And the goal wasn't to, there was no hidden objective. It was just to connect with somebody I didn't know, right?
And you were there with your church.
Yeah, we were volunteering, yeah.
Which I feel like part of what helps us align so well. I mean, we both have this belief in a higher unifying truth, spirituality, God, in terms of something bigger beyond us, and serving other people, and how important that is in our lives.
Yep. No, Dan's been a wonderful blessing to me, because he asks me questions that I often don't pause and ask to myself, and he's a good sounding board, and to watch him on his journey with his business and his charity and his passion for what he does, it's inspirational.
Can you think of an example of one of those questions I've asked you?
I guess the first thing would be on material things. What does our life really consist of? The abundance of our possessions. And I see Daniel, who's able to look after himself, help look after his family, wanting to serve the greater community on a very modest budget, and to be able to do that well. And that's always caused me to pause and say, there's some really good life lessons there that cause me to pause when I think, do I really need anything more? And anyway, that's one thing.
And I know you've been a great mentor to me in terms of your experience as an accountant. I usually call Craig tax bounty hunter in terms of going and looking at people's books, finding opportunities that people have missed, tax regulation people have missed.
I'm the Rambo of sales tax.
Rambo of sales, anyhow. Very peaceful anyhow. You can be the Rambo, I'm alright with that.
I got the little bandana.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
On camera, I can get you.
So, Craig has really opened my eyes to the opportunities that are available in terms of you can't know what you don't know. Is that how you would say that?
Yeah.
And infinite wealth of knowledge and I have done a lot of my own bookkeeping, and Craig really encouraged me to delve into some corporate tax and sort some stuff out that I had been behind on. And knowing how to reach out to CRA and get a ruling, and when I was audited for some HST, just being methodical about the process, and dealing with a bureaucracy where it's so easy to feel lost, but knowing Craig, it just helped me be more next step obsessed as far as thinking about who am I gonna reach out to next?
Yeah, because each person you reach out to is a human being.
Oh yeah.
Who's part of the cog, and so you have to help them to do their job, right? And that's something that you're really good at, right? Is connecting with people.
I feel like I thrive on that. And even when I had an agent that wasn't a native English speaker, and they were in BC, different time zone, and I didn't agree with the ruling, and then I just knew to go for an appeal.
Right.
And then someone started the appeal, and that person disappeared, and I reached out, and then I ended up with an agent, Margaret, who had lovebirds in the background. I said, what is that noise? Oh, it's lovebird.
That's hilarious.
And Margaret and I had a great time working together. And I remember the other thing Margaret said is, can you change the format? Because I was sending spreadsheets in for Margaret to look at.
And they weren't opening.
And the text is really small. I said, I've got no challenges with it. And then I realized it was being opened in the CRA portal instead of downloading the file and opening it with Microsoft Excel,
Right,
or I would
right.
use OpenOffice traditionally. So just having enough patience to really understand and be open enough to not just get into anger. Don't get
Right.
furious, get curious.
Right.
Is that what you taught me?
No, but I'll say I did. I taught him that. I came up with that. Me, no.
And I think one of the other things I've taken away is your relationship with Kim. And there's been little stories you've shared. I don't know if this is all right to ask you about, but there was that one, I forget, there was some message that you talked about Kim giving you.
Oh, about respect?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had watched a video at church that was called the Pink and Blue series, and it was just talking about the difference between men and women. And one of the points that came out is traditionally, or I guess more slanted, that women want unconditional love and want more unconditional respect. You'd still need both, but just that what they lean to. And it was really eye-opening for me. It was eye-opening for Kim. And so the next day she had written a little note, "I respect you, Greg, Kim, XOXO," and I still have that sticky on my laptop. It's been there for 15 years.
And it wasn't just unconditional respect, but there was also the "I love you" XOXO.
Yeah.
You got both.
It was Beth. Yeah, it was great. I knew she does, and she shows it all the time. But for her to tangibly write that down, it just really touched me. And it's still on my laptop. So wherever I go, they see this yellow sticky, and it goes, "I respect and love you, Craig." It's like, what's that? It's like,
and I know something that you made for me that I really touched my heart, where when I completed a bunch of my corporate tax and was in the process of submitting it, Craig took his diploma, cross-read his name on the picture frame, and wrote my name in.
For the chartered accountancy, yeah. And so he uses that all the time. Like, he seriously, that's how he markets himself, you know.
And I know, here's me tooting my own, people might judge it as that, but I once made a little magnet for Craig.
Yeah.
Because Craig would always talk about, when we complete a project, we want people to be doing backflips.
Right.
And so I made that magnet, a little cartoon version of Craig doing backflips.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever happened to the magnet? Where?
I think it's on my desk.
You think? See, me, I put all these magnets on my filing cabinet.
See, the difference between Daniel and I is that Daniel's this deep and this wide. He goes very deep in his relationships, where I'm very superficial. I'm both this deep, but I'm that wide. So that's the difference.
Actually, other funny story, because I'm involved with Quakers, which is a society of friends, and we call each other friends. Anyhow, there's this saying among Quakers, "Let your life speak."
Right.
So there's some people who helped me get to Atlantic Friends Gathering this year.
Nice.
So I made a "Let your life speak" and "Your life is speaking" as little speech bubbles. And then I had old envelopes and I wrote on them with red pen in my sloppy handwriting like they were ransom notes. And people appreciated. A couple people
that's
reached
really
out
cool.
to say they appreciated them.
That's really cool.
I feel like Craig's life speaks. And
That's very kind.
I
Little
feel like
naive, but kind.
I feel like things like our humor is off the charts.
It is.
And it's very clean.
It is. Except when he almost dropped this phone in the marsh mud, but that's another story.
We stopped and looked at, were they mallard ducks?
Yeah.
And with the little family, and we were just marveling. And it's been so fun having, and we used to go for these regular walks.
Oh, I know.
And they
It's been too
became
long.
almost like legendary among our.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, they've written folk songs about us now, and you'll see plaques all through the waterfowl park about the stories of Daniel and Craig. No, but it could be. If anyone could write a folk song, it'd be you.
I know some of the other things you said about me that really touched me. The machinist with the artist's heart, I think, was one thing that one of your sound bites.
Yep, it's true.
I'm trying to think of other times that we've had a really great. I mean, sometimes we talk about strategic, technical.
Yep, we do.
I don't know if I was talking about on YouTube. A lot of people talk strategy, but they won't define what strategy is. And I heard this talk. There's a Blair ends the pitch. I forget something. Win Without Pitching manifesto. Anyhow, Blair ends has amazing stuff. And where was I going with this? Oh, his definition of strategy talks about a journey to a position of advantage.
Love it.
Which is, because we could just have all these strategic, we want more money in the bank account. It's not really about money in the bank account. It's just a position of advantage where we feel more empowered, where we can serve others in a deeper way. And
yeah, I heard recently that along that about the word to question, and the root word to question is a quest. So it's like, how can we, when we question is to really, you really want to know. It isn't like I'm asking you, I already know the answer, so I'm just trying to know. It's like, I'm questioning it because I want to know more, because I don't know your perspective, you don't know mine, so we're going to quest a journey together to ultimately mutual benefit, right? And so that's something I think that Daniel and I have done very well, that he can question me, I can question him, and then we take it. I never get a sense from you that, oh, I'm territorial, this is my idea, don't you question it. It's always been, I'll quote Daniel, I've heard this for many years. And he pauses and is like, he just literally does that. And it's the factor of like, wow, I'm thinking about this. Oh, this is good. You know, and that's great. It's causing us to pause and to examine our lives, examine our business, right? So anyway, so it's been.
I used to feel like a lot of times my value with people when I was in my teens, starting into an apprenticeship, that my value was based on proving myself, not, someone explain what they wanted done. And I felt like, and they already knew that, where now I feel like the more I realize I'm totally in the dark on a lot of things. There's more things we won't know or that I'll forget than the things that I'll have at a moment's notice. But I do love collecting stories and things that inspire and motivate.
Yeah.
And I don't know when we're talking about question, because we had a little bit of that conversation the other day, and I'm a sucker for any kind of words that you can put hyphens in. Did we talk about atonement, at one meant? That's one I love. Or becoming disillusioned, where a lot of times we grow up and people tell us life is a certain way, and then we become disillusioned, we think that's a negative thing. But we become to see the world as it truly is, that we don't need to get our way all the time. There's beauty in the contrast, because seeing what we don't want shows us what we do want. And being on a journey, I know the other thing you once shared with me is the conflict isn't a negative thing. Because when we move through a conflict, it strengthens our relationship, which I've got a story to tell you on the walk back about. There's been some conflicts that have come up in my life, whether it's people perceiving me a certain way, and just watching them more fluidly transition to the point where someone will reach out and say, hey, I might have acted hasty, or
absolutely.
And acting with diplomacy and respect. And actually it was someone, when I was on my bike, I gave him a big wave, and they reached out later that day, hey, and anyhow.
It's the small things. Small. That's the thing with God, is there's no small things. Like what Jesus said, that even if you give a cup of cold water in my name, and so that shows that even if the motivation is to give God the glory in what you do, aiming upwards, the small things become impactful. And what I've learned is following the Lord is that He's a God of perpetual novelty. That's why heaven will never be boring. He's always revealing more of Himself, and He's given us a life with incredible creation, incredible people around us that we can always be learning from. And there's always something new. It's like you just said earlier. I used to think I had all the answers. It's like now I don't know. It's like, oh my goodness, there's just so much more to learn, right? And that's what I've encountered with Daniel. He's got an incredible, brilliant mind as far as mechanical, but also to how does that all fit in with the bigger picture, right? In the master's tapestry of life, right?
You're talking about heaven, and it brought a huge smile to my. It's just in terms of, I can't think of anything more heavenly than like the time we're sharing together. In terms of, I just feel completely free and open. I mean, not to say that we haven't grappled with, had a litigation threat, and we got to talk about that.
Yep. Oh
quite
yeah,
a
hard
bit,
things. Yep.
and
Yep.
transitioning business and opening shop, and
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
there's been a lot of different things that we've talked about, and I feel like I couldn't want any more than what we have.
I feel the same way, and I appreciate your kind words. So.
Well, thanks for taking the time
Oh,
to
no problem.
hang out, and I'm glad we captured this moment.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna cherish this.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. You
And
have to
hopefully
find-
others,
have to find
and hopefully people will comment below and watch other
Absolutely.
videos.
Absolutely. So.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thanks for taking the time, Craig.
Yeah. Love you, bud. Ah.
All right.
Hey.
Here we go.